Good morning, everybody. And for those of you who are watching live, I'd like to say hello to people who are watching live and people who are going to watch catching up. And last week, I did a first session on a little sequence, working on the hands and working on turning points. Trying to work with transitioning from one movement to another, looking for points of reference in the movement. There's lots of these. There are horizontal points, at vertical points. Maybe it's quite simple. Yeah. So. What I'd like to work on today is within the sequence we've got a number of transitions, so I'd like to bear in mind the hands and the eyes, so with the curl down, when the movement is initiated from outside through the fingertips, as the hands turn, the eyes turn. We'll see this in a number of our movements. And then in the domes, just to have in mind that we try to keep our hips facing forwards and our arms are travelling in this sort of centre space, which is a bit of a twist on the torso, but you know, it provides a stretch. But, that's something to work on. And so when in the domes, when the arms are opening, we're feeling this expansiveness, the expansion and the contraction as we turn. So try and have a feeling of this this expansion and contraction. We worked last week with this warmth between the palms that we feel in the walking in the horizontal. So this is here all the time, and we can enliven it. We just need to use our imaginations, but we're good at that. So the other transition is going from the domes to the lion. There's a nice piece here. So again, we initiate the turning from outside through the fingertips, and the eyes come in on this, but also thinking about our feet. So there's a whole lot of things here that we could get bogged down with thinking about. So we've sort of got to think about it, but then forget about it as well. As we just mentioned, Vicky and I earlier. Not Vicky and I. I'm losing the plot slightly. Here we go. So yeah, so on the domes to the lion, if I do it, it's much simpler for me than trying to think about telling you what to do. So when we come up from the lion, we rise up here, the foot that was at the back is travelling forwards as our hands turn out and face forwards, so that we're ready for this eagle position. So normally we might bring that back foot just to meet the other foot, but because we want to go into the eagle, we're preparing for that. We rise up, and as the hands are unfolding, the foot is travelling, and it's led by the knee. So in all the walks that we do, if we just practice the walk on its own, you might remember if we do this tiger feet exercise, where the knee is being drawn through and we're rolling up off the foot, and it's like we're peeling a label off its backing as that knee is drawn through. So we've got this as we come up from the lion, where the knee is drawn through to place just ahead of the other as the palms turn forward in preparation for this eagle that we go into. So I'd like to go through the routine from the beginning, and I'm going to try and do it in the stages of building up in sets of 3. I think last week when I did it, the 3s disappeared out of my mind and we progressed a little quicker. But it's really nice to do it in multiples of 3, which, you know, if I can remember, will be a change on the 4th. So, and then it gives us time to deepen each of these exercises and the things we're trying to think of to do with the hands, the eyes, the feet. It gives us a chance to work on those and bring those together, and where possible, use our pictures that we use. So they're many and varied, and if we can develop our own pictures, I think they can have more meaning for us. But we've been indulged in pictures by anyone who's taught us the movement. So I'm going to stand about here, and hopefully you can see me and hear me. And so we'll be starting with the gesture that is at the beginning of the long closing. But in this sequence, I'm not doing stepping forward. I'm just staying in the same place. So just with the arms, leading with the fingers to horizontal. And now we turn the palms like pages in a book. Turning and down. Turn the palms, come wide and down. And here we'll curl down. So from the beginning, so turning from outside, so I think I've skipped out of my 3. Turn the palms, turning the eyes with the fingers, and curling down. Turning fingers and eyes and curling down. So now we'll go into the domes. Feeling that space expand from the beginning. Turn the palms, come wide, turning the eyes and the fingers and curling down, going down through the backs of the legs to come up into the domes. feeling that space expand. From the beginning, turning, curling, going down through the backs of the legs, down into the ground, into the domes, expanding, contracting, expanding again, contracting, expanding. And so we'll add the line. Turning from outside, curling down all the way down through the spine, going down through the backs of the legs, coming up into the domes, expanding, contracting that space, expanding that space, and contracting. And then from here, as we turn from outside, we come down, and under the weight, we curl down into the lion, make the ring around our head, we're drawn up, and just simply the lion at the moment. A couple of times through like that. Turn the palms, come wide, turning from outside for the curl down. Into the domes, expanding, the space contracts, the space expands and contracts. And here we turn from outside, we prepare to go down, we're turned under the weight of the horizontal, it bears down on us and we form a ring around our head and we're drawn upwards. From the beginning, turning from outside, curling down, all the way down, ensuring our head is hanging, going down through the backs of our legs, coming up, rising, and into the domes. Turning under the weight, forced down, drawn up. We're preparing the foot for the eagle and the hands turn forward, and then our hands describe a separate circle to that of our head. So we come up and uncurl the arms from outside. From the beginning, curling down, going down through the backs of the legs, rising up, palms turn into the domes, Feeling that space grow, contract, grow, contract. And then ready for the lion, turning from outside, preparing, the foot sliding backwards as we turn, the head drops, we're forced down, we make the ring around our head. The ring rises around our head, we're drawn up. The foot is placed, the hands unfold, palms face forward and into the eagle. Turning from outside, coming horizontal. And finishing there to go and run through again from the beginning. Pages of a book turning. We turn from outside, the head bows, we curl down. We go down through the backs of our legs, we rise up, palms turn and into the domes. Expanding, contracting. The space grows, the space shrinks. Expanding. The turn comes from outside, it travels all out the arms. The head bows, we're forced down. We enclose our head. We're drawn up, and as the hands unfold, the foot comes through, the palms face forward, and we go into the eagle. From upside down, the hands rise up and out and bring us out. The turn comes from outside and our weight comes down onto the heel. Come to the top. And from here, the palms turn for the long closing. And here I do a step through for the finish. So we'll go another couple of times through. Into the domes. Feel that space. Turning from outside for the lion, head drops, the head hangs at the bottom with no tension, we're drawn up, and the gaze comes in as we're ready for the eagle. Turning from outside, travelling up the arms, coming down on the heel, ready for the long closing. With a step to finish. Once more through. Pages of a book as they turn over. Turning, curling, down the spine, going down through the backs of the legs, rising up and out. Palms turn into the domes, expanding, contracting, expanding again, contracting, going wider, turning from outside, head bows, just like a curl down as we go into the lion. We're drawn up. We take a measure with the foot, ready for the eagle. As we go down, we turn upside down. We open out into the eagle, cruising up high. The turn comes from outside, and we come down on the heel and up to the top. I swap feet here to come down for the long closing finish. Step through. And I think that about wraps it up for this morning's session.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
Welcome.
Really nice to come back to that movement after last week. Obviously, many of us knew it today, so we went through it a little bit faster, which was really enabling us to get it into our systems.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then everybody who wants to stay can stay on and have a chat. That'd be nice. So thank you so much, Charlie. Really appreciated.